Hello, Fort Wayne. Different voice, and if you can tell, I am Dustin Diller, and this is Fort Wayne Footy's podcast. I'm joined by two regulars. I'll introduce them. We'll start here with Autumn. Autumn DeMott, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you, Dustin?
I'm good. I didn't know if you you noticed something different about tonight.
I did. So for our fans, I think we have to take a pause for a second and talk about some really hard things.
Mm.
And our team had to come together and decide that, Brian was just too much. He couldn't handle himself. He's giving people too much crap. He fired me. So I think we just made the executive decision to fire him.
Yeah, I mean, he's not here. He's not here
Nope.
tonight. So let the speculations begin,
Mm-hmm.
I think
Team
there's
Autumn.
hard discussions, right? Yeah.
Yep.
It is hard. It's hard sometimes. Yep.
It is. Micah, how are you doing?
Good. I'm just glad I still have a job. So thank you for keeping me around, Autumn. I appreciate you. Team Autumn, I'm on your side. So thanks for keeping me here.
Yeah, we're like Autumn. Oh,
hey.
Uh-oh.
Whoa. First of all, who gave you the right and permissions to do a show without me tonight and then to say that you fired me? Like, what is going on?
I'm looking at Christina's comment over here.
I just saw it too. Christina, we literally before the show were like, I hope Christina's on here because she'll have something to say about this.
Listen, Christina, I thought we were friends too, man. Like, I'm trying to do something good here in Fort Wayne, and like I get booted from my own show by the folks that I no.
So the real story is Brian was possibly not going to be here tonight because he was in Wisconsin for a volleyball tournament with his son. So he asked us to kind of take the reins, and so we planned it out that way. And then we were like, we're still playing this up. We got to play this up a little bit. We gave Autumn such a hard time. We got to give Brian a hard time. So he's still here. He's still running the show.
Not tonight. I'm not. This is all you, Dustin.
Kinda.
If you have feedback on tonight's show, send it to info@fortwaynefooty.com. And then I'll make sure Dustin gets all the feedback and criticism or good stuff that you may have for the show tonight.
No, it'll be good. We're glad to have you. We're glad you're here. So glad you made it back. But so we are in a transition period. Unfortunately, Fort Wayne FC was eliminated last weekend in playoffs. And so even though the playoffs are still going on, it just means that we're not covering Fort Wayne FC. So we're in a transition period. We're still here. We're still going to go live every weekend. And we have things that we're going to talk about. So there's still other things coming up. We've got the high school season coming up that we're hoping to cover. We've got Summit City United. We've got club teams that are kicking in. There's a lot of soccer still happening in Fort Wayne, and we're going to cover it. So we'll talk a little bit more about that here in a little bit. But we have a good show tonight. I'm excited, guys. We have two guests coming on. We have Carlos Cruz, who's going to talk about their nationals run that they just had. And then we also have Josh Ayen from WANE TV that's going to talk a little bit about PFW, and he's been covering Fort Wayne FC for a while. So the new season, the new club, the new stadium, all that kind of stuff. So I'm excited. I think it'll be a good show to kind of transition us into the next stage of what this podcast takes on. So some things to still remember. They are still taking deposits for season tickets for the Fort Wayne FC season in the new stadium next year. Get your deposits in, $25 for a seat.
Quick question. Has anybody put their deposit in yet?
Yep.
All right. Dustin, did you get just one seat? You're going to leave family at home? Or what's the plan?
No. We got two seats. We were like, we could go for 4. We could do 2. We did 2. So, yeah. We'll see.
Nice. I'm slacking a little. I got to get my deposit in. Hoping to do that here real soon.
All right. And then the other 2 of you guys also, right?
Yeah.
Also,
we want to do a Fort Wayne Footy box. Like, can we dream big here? Like, I don't know that that'll really happen,
Like
but
with the logo and everything.
that would be awesome. That would be
Absolutely.
awesome.
You know what? Do you know?
Get a couple seats for Fort Wayne Footy and bring some, coaches, some players with us, and some people that support the show, sponsors, things like that. That would be a lot of fun next season.
You know what we need for that? Sponsors.
We
True.
We need some more sponsors. So speaking of sponsors, we have 2 sponsors I want to talk about a little bit. And so first one is FW22. They've been around since the beginning that we've been doing this podcast. It is a 501c3 nonprofit organized to facilitate community involvement in the support and assistance of veterans suffering from PTSD and traumatic brain injury, while simultaneously educating on suicide prevention and mental illness. Great organization. Grateful to have them on board with our podcast. Also, a newer sponsor, OmniSource, founded in Fort Wayne in 1943. OmniSource has grown to become one of the North America's largest processors, distributors, and managers of scrap and secondary metals. Grateful to have them on board as well. If you are interested in sponsoring Fort Wayne Footy so that we can have that box with our logo on it and bring everybody to the games next year, we would love to send you some information. Send us an email or message us on social media, and we will get you our latest sponsor kit with all the information you need. Again, anybody out there that wants to get us that box, we're all for it. So Brian likes to dream big. I'm all for it. Anyway, so as we are talking about what this is going to look like, guys, high school's coming up, club season's coming up. We got a week of a moratorium this next week, and then everything kicks in, right? I know you two are going to be probably pretty busy with that. How's it looking? How are you guys looking going into the season?
We're gonna crush Micah.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
I don't know. I have a couple set pieces ready for you guys, so
Can't wait.
we'll knock a couple in. But no, I am super excited about the group. This will be my 4th year at the school, so I've had now one class for these 4 years, and they're seniors. Every year it just gets a little more difficult for me to say goodbye to a group, and this year this is going to be a tough year. So just with the work and the development that these girls have put in, I am super excited. We ended last year really strong, and we should have a very, very similar start to our season this year. So super excited.
Nice.
Yeah, we graduated a ton of seniors this past fall. So we're going to be a young team for sure. But I think that excites me the most as a coach is you get to build it up for the next 4. And so really looking forward to that.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, I think we have some great teams here in the city, great high school teams, girls and boys. I'm excited to see how that kind of fleshes out this season. And as we are thinking about that, we'd love to have more people involved, more people that can cover some games. If we could have someone at every high school game, it'd be awesome. Or just, a few.
That'd be a lot of
throughout
people.
the week. Yeah,
that'd be a lot of people. Maybe a game of the week. Maybe a Fort Wayne Footy game of the week. If we could get someone out there to a game to report for us, do some interviews. We'll talk that through a little bit more as a team. But if you're interested, seriously, if you're interested in being part of that, send us a note, a comment, a DM on social media, or again an email to info@fortwaynefooty.com. We'd love to hear from you on that.
Yeah, just want to again celebrate and elevate the game within the city. So excited about that. But
Dustin, I want to recognize this comment from Raquel Briscoe.
I know. I was gonna say, Autumn and I, huge fan. So that would be awesome to be able to win to watch a game with us. Any day.
Heck yeah. Only if you come in, Raquel, to watch with us. If you're 100%. The first one, we would do this for sure.
100%. Yeah. And bring your son with you too. We'd love for him to come if he's not starting.
I was going to say he may be starting.
Yeah. With that, let's I want to jump into our first guest that we have here. And I'm going to throw him in here, kind of just read through his bio here so that people can kind of know who you are. But Carlos Cruz, Chicagoland native and former University of St. Francis standout. You finished playing your career ranked in the top 10 in school history for goals, assists, and overall points. With 28 years of coaching and directing experience, you've successfully worked across youth, recreational, travel, high school, college, and semi-pro levels. Your impressive career also includes coaching U.S. youth futsal teams internationally in Portugal, Argentina, Spain, and France. You're the director and co-founder of futsal club Alianza in Fort Wayne, and you've held a leadership role in the founder of the Fort Wayne Futsal Premier League and Fort Wayne Phoenix. Additionally, you serve as the boys head coach at Bishop Dwenger High School in Fort Wayne, and you hold multiple licenses spanning youth soccer as well as youth futsal and international certifications. You are the USYF Indiana State Futsal Director, Regional National Staff Coach, and member of the United States Soccer Coaches Association. It's a lot of accolades. We are grateful that you took the time to be on our podcast to talk about that.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
My first question, Carlos, is do you sleep? Like,
no.
That's a lot of stuff.
I don't. I don't. No.
Never.
No. Very rarely do I have a chance to do I have a chance to sleep, but
yeah,
you get it in when you can. So
yeah.
I hear that.
So talk to us a little bit about, I want you, first of all, just for some of the people that are listening, they may not know what's futsal, what's the difference between futsal and soccer, and kind of what that looks like.
Yeah. So the best way to explain to people futsal, a little something about futsal, in layman's terms, I would just say if soccer and basketball had a baby, it would be futsal. So it's 5 aside, 4 in the court, 1 goal, 1 in goal. It's here in the United States, it's mostly played on basketball courts because that's about the closest thing that we have to the surfaces that you normally would play futsal on. It can also be played on sport court, but it's designed to be played on something that is flat and that is fast. In other countries around the world, and the international size of a court is it's significantly bigger than a basketball court. So the top of the arc would be like the ends of the basketball court. So that would be the top of the arc. So you're talking about another 10 feet on either side, and then probably another 3 to 5 feet on each sideline. So it's significantly bigger.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's played with a different type of ball. For 13 and up, they play with what would be comparable to a size 4 soccer ball. And then for 12 and below, they play with what would be comparable to a size 3. It's a low bounce ball, so the bladder's designed differently. And the whole purpose behind that is because as soccer players, our most valuable asset is our feet, right? So the ball doesn't bounce very much. It stays on the floor the majority of the time. It's extremely fast. It's a sport that I guess for most Americans, even though it's been around since like the 1930s and 40s in South America, where it was developed, and today it's all over the world. It's played mostly in the United States as a developmental tool in the off season. So,
okay, yeah, no, thank you. I think there's, I mean, all of us are pretty familiar with it, but I think there's some people that, like you said, they're just kind of coming into it and don't really know that much about it. So, appreciate that. So, talk to us a little about 2009 boys. We mentioned it on our podcast last week. I think you guys were getting ready to play for the national championship when we went live last Sunday. You guys you came just short of that national championship, runners up in the nation. Pretty amazing for the 2009 boys. Talk to us about that process. Talk to us about what that was like at the national level, and the level of play, that kind of stuff.
Sure. Well, first of all, it's an impressive group of kids. Can't believe that they're already U16s. But I've known most of these kids since they were about 9-10 years old when they got into our program. And our program originally was part of the Fort Wayne Phoenix, which is the club that we started in 2015 because of the amount of interest that we had gotten from the leagues that we had launched dating back to 2010. So it's an impressive group of kids. The kids they're all Fort Wayne natives. This particular team they're from all over the city, different high schools, different clubs. But they're a unique group of boys that have the tenacity, the discipline, obviously the competitive nature to continue to progress the way that they did over the years. Because let me tell you, it wasn't easy in the beginning. When you first start playing futsal, it's difficult, and it's designed to be difficult. It's a bit of a train wreck, to be honest with you, until you learn how to control that ball. But they used it as fuel, especially in the early days when we were getting beat pretty good. They used it as fuel. I've continuously seen them progress, not only in the futsal courts, but also on the soccer fields at their respective clubs and high schools. So it's an amazing thing that we're doing. But with these kids are doing, just taking a chance. The parents are supporting it, and the growth that has developed as a result of it has been remarkable. When we went to, so let me just tell you a little bit about the nationals. It's the U.S. Youth Futsal Championship Series. U.S. Youth Futsal is the largest futsal organization in the country. I can tell you that at least a couple of years ago, there were like 52,000 registered players in the United States under U.S. Youth Futsal. They also are really, really big into player development. So they have national teams that travel the world and play in very competitive, sometimes against other national teams. And it's just it's a great experience. It provides a lot of opportunities for these kids. But part of this championship series, it starts with approximately 7 state championships, and then there were 11 regional championships. Our boys, the 2009 FC Alianza team, attended a regional in Grand Rapids, Michigan, where we were just shy of we were finalists there as well. But it was an extremely competitive group, and I would say that regional is probably one of the most competitive in the country. So we knew that going out of, qualifying out of that regional, that we had a lot of confidence going into nationals. But again, going into nationals, you just never know. I mean, there were 6 teams. It was a little bit of a smaller bracket, smaller division this year. There was Forge out of Wisconsin, JOTP out of Minnesota, DIFC out of Detroit, Michigan, us, TC Sala, who we actually played in the final, out of Minnesota as well, St. Paul, I believe, and Platinum out of Missouri. It was a very competitive division, nevertheless, and I can tell you that the final match was unbelievable. TC Sala is coached by a very good friend of mine. His name is Brian Katrine. He is also the executive director of US Youth Futsal. And they were very well coached. The players were also very disciplined, and it was a tough match. And but again, getting to that level when you're going to play nationals, you're playing against kids, teams, from all over the country, coaches and whatnot that are very experienced. It's never going to be easy. And again, going back to what I said originally, I mean, futsal itself it's a difficult sport to play because you have to be a technical player to be able to control the ball. So at that level, if you can just imagine, it's the game provides one level of competition, but then the team on the other side of the court is also providing another level of competition. It was quite fun.
Yeah. Carlos, if I could jump in here. just referring back to what you talked about, starting with this group of boys early, and seeing what was futsal then and trying to understand it. And the kids, it's a different touch on the ball, right? You're using the sole of your foot a lot more. And so training players to use different parts of their feet. It's a much faster game. But I will say this, like, you can see the development in players pretty quickly. Like after a season of futsal, seeing these young men and young women playing outdoor, using some of the skills they learned in futsal, and some continuing on with futsal. It's an amazing training ground. Like you said, in the United States, it seems to be more of a training ground for the outdoor game. But it leads me to my question then is, a lot of the times, a lot of the teams that you're playing in these national and regional competitions have players that are training just futsal year round. They're not, some of them are playing a little bit of outdoor maybe, but some of these clubs are just training futsal, it seems, if I remember correctly, the times that I've been there. How do you compete with teams like that are training more futsal, maybe the northern regions that don't, it's a little bit colder, they don't get outside as often, whatever, so they're indoors, they're training futsal. How do you compete with teams that are doing that maybe more than you have an opportunity with FC Alianza to gather players from their clubs and from their high schools to train in your season?
Yeah, right. So Brian, you make a very good point, and it's very difficult to compete with those year-round academies, futsal academies. The reality is that I think that if there was a professional league here in the United States, we would probably see more kids, much like you see in Brazil and Spain and Portugal and Argentina, where they have a professional pathway for futsal. So I'll give you an example. Like in Brazil, almost every kid plays futsal up until about 12 or 13 years old. Every single kid plays futsal. And then it is around that time that they make the decision whether or not they're going to become a professional futsal player or they're going to become a professional soccer player. Unfortunately, we don't have that, but we do have, very good academies in this country that do year-round futsal. Unfortunately, I don't think that, kind of back to your point, I mean, most of these kids are still playing a lot of outdoor soccer. And I think that they've seen the value in the development process when you play futsal. So they stick with it. I can tell you that there's a lot of different elements to this game. And Brian, this, there's obviously the technical piece. Right. And everybody, when they think about futsal, they think about the technical piece, the creative piece. So it's really good for developing foot skills. Yeah, it is. That's absolutely. But there's a tactical piece. Now, there's the tactical piece that's applicable to the outdoor game, especially in 1v1s and transitions. But there's also the tactical piece that is relevant just to futsal. And those are the things that it's very difficult, because that takes time, because there's a lot of movement off the ball. The control of the ball a lot of the times is with the sole of the foot. And it's funny because coaches always, outdoor coaches, some of the biggest complaint that I hear is, we don't like futsal because they use their sole of their foot. And I'm like, but that's just another tool. It's okay. They're not going to necessarily control the ball the same way, but it's another tool. And so now they're going to be able to use different surfaces of their feet. They're going to be able to use the inside, the outside, the sole, and so it makes the kids better. But really, from what I've seen in futsal, is that you're thinking quicker. I mean, you have to make, very quick decisions. And like I said, it's the essence of the game. You're talking about compaction versus creating width and depth in a very small space. And I think it's, at least based on what I've seen, it's been great for the development of the intelligence for kids that have been able to play at a very young age.
Yeah, and as you mentioned too, the courts here in the United States are much smaller, so that space is even tighter. And so it has been fun watching. My son has benefited from your coaching and your staff and that, and playing futsal, and just seeing how the game slows down. The outdoor game seems to slow down. Because they're used to thinking so much faster with the futsal game. And I'll say this too, and I know Mike has got a question transitioning into like some outdoor high school stuff for you too. I don't want to overstep there, but just this idea of seeing the outdoor game, like futsal is new to me, or it was new to me a few years ago. And I came on staff and I was coaching with you for a little bit there too, when we were with Phoenix and coaching goalkeepers, right? And just being able to see how the outdoor game has changed, the goalkeeper position specifically, but even watching some of the South American players and going, why are they so much better than everybody else? And it's an understanding of how they played, or that they have played futsal, and seeing some of the technique that I watched you teaching young players and going, oh, that's what I see in these Argentinian players that are playing in Major League Soccer and over in Europe, and these Brazilian players. And so being able to recognize some of that and how futsal has impacted the greater game of soccer that people are much more familiar with potentially. There's a lot that stems from playing futsal at a young age. So I know that's been a dream of yours to grow that here in Fort Wayne. And I know we joked about not sleeping, but the long hours and your commitment to young players has been fun to watch. And you're seeing the benefits of it, where a couple of years ago, Fort Wayne had a couple teams at nationals that didn't advance very far, to now you're in the semifinal, or you're in the final, and you come away just shy of a national championship. So kudos to you and what you're doing there at FC Alianza.
Yeah, thank you. Well, it's a process, and kind of going back to your question before, how can we compete with, the teams that are, training year round? I mean, I think that's why, at least for us, we have our own challenges here, right? Because again, still in our city, kids are just using it as a developmental tool to get better, to be better soccer players, but they love it. It's fun. They're touching the ball. There's never any downtime. But I think that at least from what I've seen over the years, and I guess our objective isn't necessarily to go and win all these national championships, because for us it takes time. Unless we just pulled the trigger and said, okay, we're going to do this, it's year round, it's all futsal all the time, you know what I mean? And then maybe that objective would change. But we're still in a unique situation, because these kids are playing in the fall, they're playing in the spring, we have them during the winter a little bit, but they're getting very busy even with their outdoor clubs during the winter. So we just trying to be a little piece of that. But yeah, it's obviously my passion, and again, I guess my passion isn't just futsal over soccer. My passion is the fact that I see the progress over a period of time, and I love seeing that. I love seeing the kids grow. I love seeing them improve. I love seeing them, work hard, get better, and then I love the parents talking to me about a kid that maybe was on JV that made varsity, or a kid that, graduated from high school and now is going to college, and just a real quick plug. I'm pretty sure that, we talk about futsal to soccer, Thiago Diaz, who plays with Fort Wayne FC. I think he's got a futsal foundation, so he might be one I'm have to talk to at one point. So.
Mike, I think you had a question going into the high school season here before we wrap up here with Carlos.
Yeah. So, I mean, talking anything Fort Wayne soccer, give us a quick preview of your upcoming season with Bishop Dwenger. I'd love to hear about it.
Yeah. So, last year was a very interesting year. We suffered a lot of injuries, key players. I'm talking ACL tears, and it was at least at one point probably 5 guys that were out, not all with ACL, but with injuries that kept them off of the pitch for significant time. Going into sectionals, one of our strongest central backs, and Dylan Culbertson, he was told that he couldn't play in that sectional semifinal against Angola because of an ankle issue. Nolan Knert, another guy who had something going on with his ankle or foot, and so we just had a lot of bad luck, with those injuries. And so This year, so far, so we've been, like many others, we've been trying to do a few things. I try not to overdo the kids during the summer because I want them looking forward to coming into camp. But we try to do a little something just so that way they're not completely disconnected, and when they show up the first day, they're not puking all over the place. So, we've had some technical sessions, and we've hit the weight room a little bit, and we had them go out to PFW to do some of those games. We played against a very tough Bishop Knoll team. We lost that first game, and then we came back and played Crown Point. We beat them. We played Chesterton. We beat them, and then we played Maryville, and we beat them. So, I mean, again, I'm not saying that this says anything about the season, but we've got some young guys that are getting healed up, that are back on the pitch. And they're looking okay, So at the end of the day, I mean, as you guys know, as coaches, it comes back to, them, the team. Are they willing to work hard for each other? Or are they willing to trust each other, love each other a little bit? I mean, if we can get a team of guys that can, love each other and trust each other, I mean, that's awesome. If they have that chemistry, and we'll see. But I'm hopeful, and we just have a great group of young men, very respectful, just good human beings, good Christians. I love my job there at Bishop Dwenger, and really looking forward to it.
Yeah, I think that SAC is going to be super competitive this year. I know Lourdes has a really good team. Concordia was a state runner-up last year. So you talk about Northrop, Northside, South, all those teams. I think it's going to be a really fun season to watch you guys.
Yeah, it's very different than what it used to be, 15 years ago, 20 years ago. There was always going to be a team that, you kind of knew what the outcome was going to be, but anymore you just don't know. I mean, every single team in the SAC, I think, is competing at a high level, and it's fun for us. We love to compete, and got a lot of really good coaches out there, putting in the time to develop these kids.
Well, we want to thank you for your time, for coming on and talking to us a little bit. Wanted to throw a little comment up here that was in the chat. Wants you to come coach Summit City. But yeah,
anytime you had to sleep, just went out the door.
Yeah.
The 5 minutes that I had.
Yeah, that's it. Not anymore. But no, thank you again for coming on. We want to congratulate you seriously for the success of that 2009 team, and just across the board. And we look forward to hearing how Dwenger does this season.
Thank you. No, thanks for having me. We went into that national championship, and we wanted to represent Fort Wayne, and we wanted to represent Indiana. So hopefully the boys are ready to get back at it, and hopefully we can turn this finalist to
look at that.
Champion.
We can turn that finalist to a championship next year. So we'll do it for Fort Wayne. So again, thank you guys for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Carlos.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That was good. That was awesome. I think it's always fun to see successful teams within the city doing well at a national level. We talked about it when we first started this podcast about how we have teams that are playing at the national level, and that's just one example of that. So I love what Carlos is doing in Fort Wayne. I love what the development that we're seeing in boys and girls across the city. So just great. Super grateful to be able to talk to him. We want to transition a little bit here to our next guest that we have coming on, and I'm gonna kind of throw him on the screen and get talking to him. But we have a special guest, Josh Ayen. Hello, thank you for coming. Thank you for joining us. I'll just kind of give a rundown of kind of your bio, why you're kind of here, what we can talk to you about. But you're a sports reporter and weekend sports anchor for Wayne 15 locally. You've been calling Fort Wayne FC games for the last 2.5 years, and you are starting to follow PFW men's and women's teams heading into the fall season. And so we're grateful to have you on to talk about kind of your experience, what you have to bring, but talk to us a little bit about your background. How you got into sports broadcasting, how you got into Fort Wayne FC soccer. Seems to be kind of a niche for you. So talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, kind of a long, winding journey through sports broadcasting. And Brian, I know you're a big fan of FC Cincinnati, so this might warm your heart a little bit. But I actually did my undergrad over at Xavier University. Graduated there in 2018 and actually got to go to Nibbert Stadium right down the road at UC and watch the original FC Cincinnati teams back when they were still a USL group. So kind of a side note, but yeah, I actually didn't go to school whatsoever for broadcasting. When I was at Xavier, I was studying marketing and advertising, and I was always told growing up, "Oh, you've got a great broadcaster voice. You should do broadcasting." I didn't really think that was possible, honestly, until I went out on a whim to this networking event for student broadcasters over at DePaul University. It was hosted by the Big East Conference, which is the main conference for Xavier University. Went there, connected with some folks, and I realized, man, this is what I want to be doing. And so I pretty much made it a mission from there to do whatever it takes to make sure that I am, whether it's play-by-play, whether it's reporting, whether it is digital coverage, any way whatsoever to be doing sports broadcasting or sports journalism. I want that to be my sole focus moving forward. So I worked back in Indianapolis where I grew up for a year, kind of more to what I did for my undergrad degrees, but at the same time, I was going to IUPY, then IUPY, but now IU Indianapolis for their Sports Masters journalism program. Did that for a year, and then the pandemic hit. Just like everybody else, we were stuck at home, just sitting around waiting for whatever was to come. And honestly, I feel like that just sort of sped up my plans a little bit because I unfortunately was laid off from my job. I was starting to do some broadcasting on the side, a little side gig work, covering high school sports in the Indianapolis area. And all COVID did for me was really just speed up my plan. So I was just applying to news stations, sports teams left and right, just trying to see if there was any way I can get into the business. Thankfully, Wayne 15 came calling with a news job, not necessarily a sports job, but I was like, you know what? Sports is on thin ice pretty much right now. Just take this job in news and see where it goes. So I moved up here to Fort Wayne at the end of 2020, did a year of news, working as a digital multimedia journalist, working mainly on the morning show. If any of you were up that early from 5 to 7 a.m., I was on First News for a little bit. And then thankfully there was an opening in the sports department the following year. And that's pretty much what I've been doing ever since.
That's awesome. Okay, cool. So Fort Wayne FC, how did you get hooked up with Fort Wayne FC? How did that happen?
Yeah, first of all, I really got to credit all the front office, those in the past, those in the present. They were the ones that really gave me a shot to call Fort Wayne FC matches. We obviously started covering them when they had their inaugural season in 2021. I was still doing news at the time, but my first year really getting to see them firsthand was in 2022 when they started to be a lot more competitive. They were pushing for a playoff spot, and I got to connect a little bit more with the front office folks and, of course, connect with DeMarcus Beasley. We really got to know them firsthand when we got to go cover DeMarcus Beasley's induction to the National Soccer Hall of Fame in 2022. Amazing experience. And from there, our relationship kind of grew from there. And just out of the blue, I asked one day, hey, do you ever need a fill-in play-by-play broadcaster for your Fort Wayne, for your broadcasts? Because they had somebody else at the time, and they said, as a matter of fact, we need to fill in for this upcoming match. So from there, it was pretty much history. I got to fill in for a couple of matches during the 2023 season. The person that was doing play-by-play was not available the following year, so that's kind of how I got the opportunity to call all of the home matches for Fort Wayne FC in 2024, 2025, and hopefully for the foreseeable future as they now get ready for USL 1.
That's awesome. Yeah. So funny. I was at pretty much every home game -1, and I listened. And now that like you're on here, I remember hearing you calling the game. So that like, I mean, it's the distinct voice that I hear. So no, that's awesome. Yeah. And
Thank you.
obviously we're hoping that you continue as well. So, I know, I think Autumn had a question for you here.
Yeah. Can you tell us how you got kind of involved with the PFW programs for the men and women's team, and maybe some of your predictions in the upcoming season?
Man, that is
And we're going to hold you to it.
put me on
Yeah.
the spot there, Autumn. My goodness. So with the Dons, that was actually one of my first opportunities to call games when I moved up here to Fort Wayne. I knew I was going to be doing news, but at the same time, I wanted to continue doing work in play-by-play. So I pretty much just cold called everybody in town asking, hey, do you need a guy doing play-by-play? Do you need to fill in? And thankfully, PFW was one of the first folks that got back to me saying, we don't have anything right now, but we'll keep you on our list. And actually calling soccer matches, I believe my memory maybe a little bit fuzzy, but I believe the very first soccer match I called was a PFW soccer match. So I've been doing that since on a fill-in basis, mainly since 2022. And what's cool, ever since I moved up here, I've been able to see some of the best seasons in program history, especially on the women's side. When they finished second in the Horizon League, you had Sam Castaneda, a Homestead High School grad who really shined and was kind of the anchor for what at the time was that best team in program history on the women's side. We got to cover them, of course, with my work at WANE 15. I got to call a few of their matches, and that was just such a special group. Again, just kind of a side note there, but it's been really cool just to get a front row seat to connect with the coaches for both those programs. The men have really started coming on in the last couple of years. They've been to the Horizon League tournament in back-to-back years, and at one point last year, they were even number one of the Horizon League. So I know Stephen Gorton, the head coach there, he's got a few of his returners coming back from last year. A couple of them left from the transfer portal, but a lot of the guys that were crucial in some of the team's early success last season. I'm very excited to see what they could do with another year together. Plus, you add a few transfers. As far as my predictions, that's definitely put me on the spot right there. So,
No pressure. No pressure.
Yeah, I still got to do a lot of research on the Horizon League teams, but just knowing, we'll start with the ladies. I know just with Jason Burr, the big thing that you are always going to get with his teams, they are tough, they are gritty, and certainly not pretty. They are just known for their defensive identity. And even though they had a lot of younger faces playing last year, or maybe a few more inexperienced pieces who've been kind of waiting their turn to be a part of the starting 11, they still gutted it out and still found a way to sneak into the Horizon League tournament as that last team in, as that 6th seed. And I hope now that a lot of those freshmen or sophomores have a full season of experience under their belt, they have that time, they have that chemistry, and they know what it takes now to compete in the Horizon League, and not just compete, but actually go for a Horizon League championship and get maybe a top 4 finish and be in position to maybe host an early round game before they go to that set site for the final couple of rounds. On the men's side, kind of alluded to this already. They did lose a few guys to the transfer portal, but they do bring a couple of their guys back, like Shane Anderson, Andrew Hollenbach, who both got all Horizon League honors. Really was impressed with what they were able to bring to the table last year. You've got Abe Ariano as well. I remember pretty much his signature goal celebration is just doing backflips. I hold my breath every time I see him score, hoping he doesn't hurt himself. But yeah, they've definitely got a lot of exciting pieces too. Stephen Gorton's crew does. So I'm sure they will definitely be very competitive in the Horizon League. And I am sure they are very determined to try and take care of unfinished business when, again, they were one of those top teams of the Horizon League. Didn't necessarily have the best finish, so I'm sure they're going to come in with a chip on their shoulder this fall as well.
Yeah, we have personally a special interest in watching PFW men's this year as their assistant coach coaches our kids, mine and Micah's boys on the club side. So, and some of the players that Carlos had on his team there at the Nationals at for Fort Wayne Futsal, or for FC Alianza, also coached by Travis Hurtis, the assistant coach there at PFW. So special interest in watching that team develop and play. And I actually get to coach with Sam Castaneda's dad at Homestead. So love her as a player and her family there too. So fun that you got to see that. My question, if you said you called your first game as a soccer play-by-play announcer in 2022. As you've gotten to know the game from that side of things as a broadcaster, what is something that you're seeing, that you're looking at as you're watching the game, that maybe the average fan is missing or not looking for, because you have to communicate it differently to that fan who maybe isn't seeing it? Does that make sense?
Yeah, more or less. I would say with my main responsibility as the play-by-play guy, I like to equate it to being like the point guard in basketball. If we're going to shift topics to a different sport for a second, you have got to be the guy that has to facilitate, especially if you're doing it for live stream. Thankfully, I have got incredible analysts that I work with, especially with Fort Wayne FC. Luca Molta, who works behind the scenes with Fort Wayne FC's crew on the more analytical side. He's got a very sharp mind, and he's got a keen sense of the game. And it also helps having that background, too, of being with the club on a day in, day out basis. When I've got 20 million other things to juggle, he is there kind of being like the eyes in the back of the head for me. So it's just a matter of just picking his brain. And especially for somebody like me, that the main experience I had with soccer growing up, my sister played. I was a ref for youth games growing up, but I didn't necessarily play myself. So I kind of have that unique perspective of sort of being that outsider and trying to make sure that this match can relate to outsiders like myself, who may not know the X's and O's and all the tactics, but can understand the people, can understand the motivations and just the overall stories. So that is my main responsibility, and just making sure I can delegate whenever possible to Luca or whoever my analyst is, who definitely is a lot more sharp on the tactics and can communicate that to some of the more sharper soccer minds that are watching our broadcast. But then when the time comes, again, like the point guard, you sometimes got to take the ball in your hands. You got to take the moment for yourself. So when that ball is inside the 18 or around the 6, I got to take that moment myself and make sure that I can deliver a memorable moment for the fans, or in the case, the opposing fans, if it comes to the detriment of Fort Wayne FC or whoever the Mastodons are playing, or whichever event that I'm calling.
Yeah. As you look, so back when we think back to Fort Wayne FC, as you look forward to this next season, as you look forward to the new stadium and the move up to USL1, what are you most excited about to see? What are you most excited about to cover from both Wayne 15 and then also in the box? What excites you the most about that?
There's just a lot of new and exciting things when talking about Fort Wayne FC. I mean, obviously the stadium that they're building. I live 5 minutes away from where that's going to be built, and I drive on 69 every single day, and I am just amazed at how fast they are moving to get that stadium ready in time for next season. I almost think, can we get some of that construction crew to work on some of the other road projects?
I was going to say the road in Fort Wayne, if we could do that.
Yeah.
Honestly, either the road projects there or Indianapolis. I've had to go to Indy a couple of times to cover some other events. 465 is always under construction, 24/7. Doesn't matter the time of the year.
Yep.
Yeah, if we can get that going with the folks over on Bass Road and just distribute some resources there, I would not be upset with that. But yeah, I am just excited to see how the Fort Wayne, the Northeast Indiana community just buys into everything here. I was having a really good conversation with Glenn Marina, the sports director at Wayne 15, the other day about the Tin Caps when Parkview Field opened in 2009. I was not here in Fort Wayne at the time, so I can only go off of what Glenn was telling me. It took a little bit, but Parkview Field, you see it today, and it is like it's a landmark here in Fort Wayne. It is a go-to destination, and I'm excited to see how Fort Wayne can embrace Fort Wayne FC Park once that's ready next year. And, it may take a year or so, but through word of mouth, but just talking with everybody in the organization, they are not only excited about the stadium itself, but the excitement of seeing a professional team, another professional soccer team here in Northeast Indiana. I wasn't given exact numbers, but just to hear some of the early returns on season ticket deposits, it sounds like it is going very well right now, and it kind of just underscores just the level of excitement with people wanting to see a professional soccer club here in Northeast Indiana. And then I'm just excited too, on a personal level, just to see some of the faces that we have seen this summer or the last couple of summers, you can bet there's going to be at least a handful of these names from this team. I mean, it's no secret how Mike Avery built the roster this year. A lot of recent college grads, folks that have been out of college for a few years. It was all with the intention of mind of getting an evaluation going for USL 1 in mind. And I'm sure some of these guys more than proved that they are capable of playing at that next level. And it kind of helped too that we had a couple of pieces like Sadiq Hassan, who had previously played at USL 1 to kind of give that experience. And I'm sure they're going to get a chance to once again play professionally next year, this time with Fort Wayne FC. So I'm excited to see some of these guys again. They're great people. You see them at the end of every match. You see them interact with the fans. And I can't wait to see them interact on a stage like Fort Wayne FC Park once that's ready next year.
Yeah.
We know that Sadiq Hassan is also great at karaoke, which he shared with us a few weeks ago when we interviewed him. That was a fun one. Something you said earlier, Josh, about being a play-by-play broadcaster and trying to bring it to the outsider or the person that maybe doesn't know the X's and O's and the tactics and all that of soccer. I think that's huge. And so I just applaud your efforts in doing that, because that's what we need to grow the game. Like there's going to be a lot more seats in the Fort Wayne FC Park than there are at Bishop Darcy Stadium. And to fill those seats, people have to enjoy the game. They have to know a little bit about the game, and they have to feel like they're connected to the game. And so what you do, I think, is of great importance to helping that person that's just the casual fan that's maybe going with a friend to show up at the stadium and go, there's something interesting here, and there's something really exciting. You mentioned earlier that I'm a Cincinnati fan. Absolutely. But that's one of the things that we hear through our Cincinnati Soccer Talk podcast is people, are a part of our team now that had no connection with soccer, that went to a game with a friend, experienced the atmosphere, experienced what it was like to watch a game with someone that kind of knew what was going on, helping them feel connected, and now are part of the team, celebrating what's happening on the field and talking about it every week on a podcast. So what you're doing is huge, and just encourage you to keep it up. We appreciate that as fans of Fort Wayne FC, just being in the stadium now, knowing the face behind the voice that we're hearing all the time. So thank you for what you do. My last question, and I'll let Dustin wrap this up, but my last question, as a Cincinnati fan, while you were at Xavier and being at Nippert Stadium, watching some of those games, do you have a favorite FC Cincinnati game that jumps out at you from your time there watching them play?
As far as in person, I went to a couple of matches. I can't remember the exact opponent that they played. I will give you my favorite memory when I was living in Cincinnati. It had to have been their early success in the U.S. Open Cup runs back when they were still the USL team. And they went head-to-head against MLS clubs and hosted them at Nippert Stadium. Just watching it from TV, I was getting goosebumps. Yeah. Just seeing the excitement, the environment. Like, you could care less that it was a USL team. They were amped up. They were ready for this moment. It was something that they were living for, the chance to prove themselves against MLS competition. And if it wasn't for those couple of those U.S. Open Cup runs, FC Cincinnati would not have a new stadium. They would not be an MLS. Yeah. So those early years, they were huge to not only building the momentum for this club, but getting it in a position to where now they're a mainstay in MLS, and now they're going for another regular season title. Because I remember those first couple of years in MLS, they were not pretty.
3 wooden spoons in a row, bottom of the league.
Yeah, not pretty. But it's exciting to see where FCC is now. And as I was casually watching part of their match against Inter Miami yesterday, I was like, man, just crazy to think just how far that club has come. Yeah. It's really exciting.
Yeah, I talk about that because I equate that to what's happening in Fort Wayne, right? As Fort Wayne is moving from USL 2 to USL 1, the fan base is growing, the supporter groups. I know Christina's in the chat from Three Rivers Regiment, the support that they're trying to generate to get the fans behind this team and to see just what is happening here in Fort Wayne as the fans get around it, as the team is building. The front office is building a team there on the pitch and in the front office that has ambitions to just continue to grow. And hopefully, we'll see Fort Wayne FC maybe in the U.S. Open Cup. They'll have those opportunities here coming up now as they move into the professional ranks. So looking forward to that this coming season to see where that takes us as we move into USL 1, promotion relegation coming up. There's a lot of fun things to look forward to. So Josh, I believe you're in between broadcasts right now. Is that correct?
Yes. Got to get ready for an 11 o'clock show, but I really appreciate you guys having me on. Anytime you want to talk Fort Wayne soccer, whether it's Fort Wayne FC, PFW, high school, I do want to make one little plug real quick. I know you guys were talking about futsal earlier. You were talking about Johnny I. You might want to be on the lookout Monday at 6 and 11. We might have a little special something coming out on Wayne 15 about Mr. Johnny I.
We got his dad or family member is in the chat talking about how he plays for Carlos. So,
all right.
Awesome. Well, hey, thank you so much for coming on. We appreciate it immensely. And I'm sure we'll catch up with you at another point in time throughout the year, sir. So thank you. Thanks again.
Awesome. Thank you guys. Thank you for all you do for Fort Wayne soccer. And excited to see future Fort Wayne soccer here in the next coming years.
Yes, for sure.
Thanks, Josh.
Thank you.
All right. Well, that took us right up. So we had talked about some extra time stuff, but I think really what we really need to get out there is, Brian, you got some things to show. We've got our swag store up and running.
Oh man, do we?
Officially up and running, and some pretty sweet stuff that you guys can get your hands on if you want some.
Yeah, let me just throw some stuff up on the screen. So if you're listening later in the week, you're not having a chance to actually see this, go back and watch the last 3 to 4 minutes of this live stream that we're showing on YouTube or Facebook or wherever you happen to be watching. We've got some cool merch, man. Fort Wayne Footy, the Summit City Soccer Podcast. We've got all kinds of different logos, different designs, different options of sweatshirts, T-shirts. We've got Celebrate and Elevate the Game has kind of been our tagline, our motto as we've gone this year. We've got men's and women's shirts, and we've got hats. That's a couple different styles of hats out there. And here's the thing, Dustin. Everything currently on the store is spelled correctly.
Yeah. Wanted to tell you on the actual, on the store thing, it still is, but the shirts and the logos on the actual products, we're good to go.
What? Say that again?
On the when you go to the website, it's on the proof or whatever. It still may be incorrect.
Oh, I think you have to. I think you have to clear your cache and refresh.
Okay,
because it is good to go. It has been changed. We're all set. Everything Fort Wayne is spelled correctly on all shirts. It was just the one design.
Shout out to Kendra's friends that called that out for us this week. And shout out to Kendra. It's her birthday today, so I needed to get that out there.
Oh, happy birthday! Happy birthday! So yeah, we do have a lot of fun stuff on the store. It will only be open until August 3rd. So this has to, if you want something, get out there now. I love that Christina has the shirt with our faces on it. That's fantastic. I can't wait to see that. And I thought about, guys, trimming my beard up a little bit, but I was like, no, wait.
You're on a shirt now.
Is on a shirt now. And the beard is like part of the brand now. So can't do anything about that. But so anyway, yeah, check out the store. We'll put the link in the comments or in the description of this video. Be sure to check that out. Again, if you are interested in purchasing some merch, there's hats, there's T-shirts, there's all kinds of things out there with different designs, whatever. It's open till midnight on August 3rd. You have the option at checkout to have it delivered to your house, or if you're local in Fort Wayne and you want to save the shipping costs, 18 Threads is doing the store for us, so you can actually head over to their store and pick up your order. It should be ready, I think they said 2 to 3 weeks after the close of the store. So after August 3rd, give them 2 to 3 weeks to get everything printed, embroidered, and whatever you ordered, and you can pick it up or have it shipped directly to your house. I know I just spent a lot of money on some gear for us, and it helps to support the show too. So almost every item has a little bit attached to it as a fundraiser to help us get some of the equipment that we've talked about, to do some live streams maybe later in the season from different places. So
in the box. And the box.
The box to host Raquel Briscoe and company at Fort Wayne FC next year. So check it out. We'll post the link, and you don't need that shirt over our faces, so I'll take that off and turn it back over to you, host Dustin Diller.
No, good podcast. I felt like it was two good interviews about what's going on in Fort Wayne. Just wanted to throw it to each one of you about if you had one last thing to kind of add to tonight.
I think I appreciate all that Carlos has done for the game of futsal and developing players. I mean, when he started talking about just the development and watching the kids just improve and how futsal translates to soccer or how soccer translates into futsal, I appreciated that perspective. And that aligns perfectly to celebrate and elevate the game. It's, I'm grateful for the work that he has done here, for not just futsal, but for overall the game of soccer here in Fort Wayne.
Yeah. Autumn, you got anything?
I mean, I already fired Brian earlier this episode, so I feel like that should be said. I'm just kidding. No,
I don't know. Autumn has anything else she's allowed to say.
I think the best part was when Brian, when your mic was muted earlier in the podcast, I was like, "Did Autumn do that?" She muted you.
You can't out me like that. That I started to talk with my mic muted. That's like the cardinal sin of Zoom calls or whatever. That someone has to tell you you're muted, right? Yeah. Thankfully, listen, I recognized it.
Nobody had to tell you. You're in true professional fashion. You recognized it yourself. So. Good.
Halfway through my question, and then you outed me. So thank you very much.
You dropped me from the screen last episode. So what difference?
You want me to do it again? Are you asking for it again? Oh man, this has descended into chaos, Dustin.
I know. This will be the last time I'm ever asked. No,
that's not true. I do want to give a promo though of next week's show. We have David Gerson coming on the show. If you are not familiar with that name, you may have seen him on social media. His handle is Refs Need Love Too. And so you may have seen a guy pop up showing a play that's a little controversial. And why did this player get the red card? Was the red card deserved? And he walks you through what happened in the play, why the card was given or not given, those sorts of things. So I'm excited about next week's show to talk about the game from a referee's perspective and have a professional like David Gerson coming on to talk about it. Check him out. He's got 62,000 something followers on Instagram. And like I said, if you follow sports, if you follow soccer in any way on social media, I'm sure his stuff has shown up in your feed. And we're lucky enough to have him on the show next week.
Yeah. Yep. Love his content. Love his content. I send my players to our parents to his account. Like, take a look at it. He'll walk you through the laws of the game and reasoning and the plays. So I had really good content. I'm excited to talk with him next week.
Awesome. Well, that does it for us. As the last comment, I got to throw up there. Autumn, you're protected. I'll be honest. Like you don't got to worry about anything. It's the three of us that really need to probably be concerned about our jobs. But no, thanks, guys.
Messi thought that too when he skipped the MLS All-Star game.
I know. We didn't have time to talk about
the next game. So Autumn, you never know.
Oh, all right. Well, on that note, I appreciate you guys. Excited to see you guys again next week. And again, it's going to be a good week of a guest on our show. So thanks again. And we will see you next time.